The feeding chamber smelled like ozone and blood. Dr. Adrian Wells stepped through the heavy door carrying a container of raw meat, his boots making soft sounds against the metal floor. Behind the reinforced glass wall, 20 alien researchers pressed close to watch, their various forms of eyes wide with what Adrian had learned to recognize as terror, mixed with fascination. Shadow waited in the center of the chamber. The creature stood taller than any Earth elephant, its body covered in overlapping plates of armor that shifted from deep purple to black depending on the light. 6 eyes arranged in 2 rows across its massive head tracked Adrian's every movement. Rows of crystalline teeth caught the overhead lights when Shadow opened its mouth slightly, tasting the air. Bioelectric sparks danced along the ridge of its spine, a warning to anything foolish enough to approach. Adrian walked forward without hesitation. He had done this hundreds of times over the past 5 years. The key was confidence without aggression, patience without fear. Predators could smell fear, could sense hesitation in the way a person moved. Adrian had learned that lesson from wolves back on Earth, from the big cats in African preserves, from every dangerous animal he had ever studied. Shadow lowered its head as Adrian approached. The movement would have looked threatening to anyone else, but Adrian recognized the subtle body language. The creature's shoulder plates were relaxed, not raised for combat. The electrical discharge along its spine had dimmed to almost nothing. The 6 eyes were focused but not dilated for a strike. "Good morning, friend," Adrian said quietly. He set the container down and pulled out a large chunk of meat. Shadow's nostrils flared, breathing in the scent. Adrian tossed the meat gently. Shadow caught it with surprising delicacy, the massive jaws closing around the food without the violent snapping motion the species was known for. Through the glass, Adrian could hear the muffled sounds of alien voices speaking in various languages. The translation device in his ear picked up fragments of their conversation. "Impossible," someone said. "Night Stalkers killed the entire research team on Draken 7. The human has been doing this for years," another voice responded. "I still do not understand how." "Madness," a third voice declared. "Pure human madness." Adrian smiled slightly and reached out his hand. Shadow moved its enormous head closer, allowing the human to place his palm against the armored snout. The plates were warm to the touch, almost hot. Shadow made a sound deep in its chest, a rumbling that vibrated through the floor. Another piece of meat. Another moment of calm interaction. The door to the observation area hissed open. Adrian glanced over and saw Commander Bront enter, his reptilian form moving with the careful precision his species was known for. The Torgathi commander's scales were flushed a dark orange, a sign of agitation. Behind him, Dr. Yana floated in, her insectoid body supported by gossamer wings that caught the light like oil on water. Adrian finished the feeding session, giving Shadow the last pieces of meat. He touched the creature's shoulder one more time, feeling the powerful muscles beneath the armor, then turned and walked back to the door. Shadow watched him leave but made no move to follow. The creature had learned the boundaries of their interaction just as Adrian had learned to read its moods. The moment Adrian stepped through the door into the observation area, Commander Bront approached. "Dr. Wells, the Council is meeting in 1 hour. They wish to discuss your research methods." Adrian pulled off his gloves. "Again? We went through this last month. There are new concerns." Bront's translator gave his words a clipped, precise quality. "You have demonstrated that one human can approach a Night Stalker. This does not mean the approach is safe or should be continued. My species attempted to study these creatures for decades. We lost 347 researchers before we gave up. The Sylvari lost twice that number. Even the Krell, who fear nothing, will not approach a living Night Stalker." Dr. Yana drifted closer, her compound eyes reflecting Adrian's image dozens of times. "Commander Bront is correct about the casualties, but he fails to mention that no other species has Adrian's success rate. In 5 years, there has not been a single incident." "There has not been an incident yet," Bront corrected. "One mistake, one moment of misread behavior, and Dr. Wells will be the 348th Torgathi casualty. Except he is human, so I suppose he would be the first human casualty." Adrian looked through the glass at Shadow. The creature had settled onto the floor, its body relaxed. "I am not misreading anything, Commander. Shadow is not tame, I will never claim that. But we have an understanding. The species is intelligent, more than your people gave them credit for. They respond to respect. They respond to food. Bront said flatly. They respond to body language, to tone, to intent. Adrian turned to face the commander. My species learned these skills over millions of years. We evolved alongside apex predators. We had to learn to read them to survive. Sometimes we fought them, sometimes we avoided them, and sometimes we made peace with them. Do you know what a dog is, Commander? Bront's scale shifted to a lighter orange confusion. I have read about them. Earth canines domesticated. Domesticated from wolves. Wolves are pack hunters, incredibly dangerous. But 30,000 years ago, some humans and some wolves decided to work together instead of competing. We turned the most dangerous predator on our continent into humanity's best friend. That is what humans do, Commander. We bridge gaps between civilization and wildness. The Night Stalker is not a wolf, Bront said. No, it is not. But the principles are the same. Shadow knows I am not prey. Shadow knows I am not a threat. We exist in a space of mutual respect. That is not madness, Commander. That is millions of years of evolutionary wisdom. Dr. Yana's wings fluttered with what Adrian had learned to recognize as excitement. The Council should be celebrating this breakthrough, not questioning it. Do you realize what this means for xenobiology research? For decades, we have studied dangerous species from a distance, through drones and remote cameras. Adrian has opened a door to direct observation and interaction. Bront's scales darkened again. Or he has opened a door that should have remained closed. Adrian's communication device chimed. He pulled it out and checked the message. His expression changed immediately, softening in a way that made even Bront pause. Problem? The commander asked. No, Adrian said, though his voice carried a note of concern. My daughter's transport arrived early. She is already docked. I need to go meet her. Dr. Yana's antennae perked up with interest. You did not mention your offspring was visiting. Lily asked to come during her school break. She wants to see what I do here. Adrian glanced back at Shadow one more time. I should go. Commander, I will attend the council meeting, but my answer will be the same as always. The research continues. He left the observation area, his mind already shifting from Night Stalkers to the complicated question of having his 8-year-old daughter on a research station that housed one of the galaxy's most feared predators. Behind him, Dr. Yana and Commander Bront watched through the glass as Shadow settled into sleep, the great predator's breathing slow and steady. The human is either brilliant or insane, Bront said quietly. Perhaps with humans, Dr. Yana replied. Those two things are not so different. Lily Wells pressed her face against the transport window, watching the massive research station grow larger as they approached. She had seen pictures and videos her father sent, but nothing compared to seeing it with her own eyes. The station looked like a giant wheel spinning slowly in space, with docking arms extending like spokes. Lights glowed from thousands of windows where beings from dozens of species lived and worked. We are beginning final docking procedures, the pilot announced. Young passenger, please return to your seat. Lily bounced back to her chair, barely able to contain her excitement. It had been 6 months since she last saw her father. 6 long months of school, and living with her grandmother while Dad worked light years away studying creatures that most of the galaxy considered monsters. Lily thought that was the coolest job in the universe. The docking clamps engaged with a solid thunk that vibrated through the transport floor. Lily grabbed her bag before the pilot could finish announcing they had arrived. She was first at the airlock door, practically dancing with impatience as the pressure equalized and the seal released. The door opened to reveal her father standing in the docking bay, and Lily forgot about dignity and ran straight into his arms. Dad! Adrian caught her and lifted her up despite her protest that she was too old for that now. Hey, butterfly? You grew again. 3 centimeters since last time, Lily said proudly. Grandma measured. They held each other for a long moment. Adrian set her down and really looked at her. She had her mother's eyes, dark and curious. Her hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and she wore the casual jumpsuit that was standard on space transports. But what struck Adrian most was how much older she seemed. 8 years old, but already showing signs of the person she would become. The transport manifest said you were not arriving until tomorrow, Adrian said as they walked through the docking area. I finished my school project early, so Grandma got me on the earlier flight. Are you mad? Not mad, just surprised. I was planning to have your quarters ready and give you a proper tour. Can I see Shadow? Is that what you named the Night Stalker? Your messages said you were making amazing progress. Adrian felt his chest tighten. He had known this question was coming, but he had hoped for more time to prepare. Lily, Shadow is very dangerous. I know I have told you about the work, but seeing it from a distance is different from being near it. You are near it all the time. I have been training for this my whole life. I spent years building trust with Shadow. It is not something you can just walk up to and pet like the dogs back home. Lily's expression shifted to disappointment, but she nodded. I understand. Can I at least see from the observation area? With all the other scientists? Adrian considered. The observation area was safe, built to withstand a full assault from a Night Stalker, and Lily deserved to see what her father's work actually involved. Yes, we can do that. But not today. Let me show you your quarters first and introduce you to some people. They took a lift to the residential sector. The station was enormous, home to nearly 3,000 researchers and support staff. As they walked through the corridors, Lily stared at every alien they passed. A Torgathi engineer nodded politely. A group of Silvari technicians floated past, their wings creating a gentle breeze. A massive Krell security officer had to turn sideways to let them pass in the corridor. Everyone is so different, Lily whispered. That is what makes it wonderful, Adrian replied. Every species brings something unique to the research. Different perspectives, different ways of thinking. They reached Lily's assigned quarters, a small but comfortable room with a bed, desk, and a large window showing the stars. Lily immediately went to the window and pressed her hands against it. Is that Earth? That blue star? Different direction, but yes, somewhere out there. We are about 40 light years from home. Lily turned around, her expression serious. Do you miss it? Earth, I mean, every day. But I miss you more when you are not with me. They spent the next hour unpacking Lily's things and talking about school, about Grandma, about all the small details of life that did not translate well over long-distance communications. Then Adrian took her on a tour of the safer areas of the station, the cafeteria where dozens of species ate foods that ranged from normal to bizarre, the observation deck where you could watch space without any glass in between, just force fields holding back the vacuum, the gardens where earth plants grew alongside alien vegetation in carefully controlled environments. Everywhere they went, researchers stopped to say hello to Adrian and to meet his daughter. Dr. Yana found them in the gardens, her compound eyes gleaming with interest. So this is the offspring you speak of with such pride, Yana said. Her translator gave her voice a musical quality. I am Dr. Yana, your father and I work together. You study the Night Stalkers too? Lily asked. I study your father studying the Night Stalkers, Yana replied. Behavioral psychology is my field. I find humans endlessly fascinating. That sounds boring, Lily said, then immediately looked embarrassed. Sorry, I mean, Yana's antennae bobbed in what Adrian recognized as amusement. Not boring at all. For example, right now I can see that you are very curious about Shadow but trying not to show it too much because you fear your father will say no if you seem too eager. Human children are quite transparent in their emotional expressions. Lily's face flushed. I am being respectful. Dad said it is dangerous. It is dangerous, Adrian confirmed. Shadow is not a pet, Lily. One wrong move and that creature could kill a person in seconds. But you are never afraid, Lily said. I am always a little afraid. That fear keeps me careful and keeps me alert. Fear is not weakness, Butterfly. Fear is information. The trick is learning what to do with that information. They continued the tour, ending at the main cafeteria for dinner. Adrian got them both food from the Earth cuisine synthesizer. Nothing fancy but recognizable. As they ate, Lily asked endless questions about the station, the research, the different species. Adrian answered patiently, happy to see her so engaged. After dinner, Adrian walked Lily back to her quarters. She was starting to show signs of fatigue from the long journey, but she fought against sleep. Dad, can I ask you something? Anything. Do you think Mom would be proud of your work? With Shadow, I mean. Adrian's throat tightened. His wife had died 2 years ago. A transport accident that still felt unreal sometimes. Your mother always supported following the hard questions, even when they were scary. So yes, I think she would be proud. I think she would be proud of both of us. Lily hugged him tightly. I am proud of you. Get some sleep, Butterfly. Tomorrow I will show you the observation area. You can see Shadow from a safe distance. Promise? Promise. Adrian left Lily in her room and headed back to his own quarters. But sleep did not come easily. Having his daughter on the station felt wrong somehow. Like two parts of his life that should remain separate had collided. He loved his work, loved the breakthrough he had made with Shadow, But he loved Lily more than anything in the universe. What if something went wrong? What if Shadow had a bad day? What if the creature's predator instincts overrode their understanding? Adrian stared at the ceiling for a long time before finally drifting off. He did not know that across the station, in her own room, Lily was not sleeping either. She had pulled up every file she could access about Night Stalkers, reading about their habitat, their behavior, their incredible hunting abilities. The files included video footage of Shadow moving through the containment area, and Lily watched it over and over. Her father had found something amazing, something that scared the entire galaxy. And Lily wanted to understand it, wanted to see it up close, wanted to know what made the connection between human and monster possible. She fell asleep with her tablet still glowing, images of Shadow frozen on the screen. The alarm cut through Adrian's sleep like a knife, not the gentle wake-up tone he had set, but the harsh blare of a station emergency. He rolled out of bed already reaching for his clothes, his researcher's mind cataloging possibilities. Fire, containment breach, hull damage. His communication device was flashing red. He grabbed it and saw Commander Brandt's message. Code Yellow, Sector 7, child missing from quarters. All personnel report. Adrian's blood turned to ice. Sector 7, that was the containment area. And there was only one child on this station. He ran. Other researchers were emerging from their quarters looking confused. But Adrian pushed past them without explanation. The corridors blurred as he sprinted toward the containment sector. His mind raced faster than his feet. Lily could not have accessed the containment area. The locks were biometric, keyed only to authorized personnel. Unless an 8-year-old with her mother's brilliant mind and her father's stubborn determination had found a way around them. Adrian rounded a corner and nearly collided with Dr. Yana, who was floating rapidly in the same direction. Security footage shows Lily heading toward containment 30 minutes ago, Yana said without preamble. She bypassed 3 security doors. How is that possible? The locks are designed to keep out adult aliens with advanced hacking tools. They were not designed to stop a clever human child who has watched her father input codes for the past day. Yana's antennae drooped, with what might have been embarrassment. I did not consider this possibility. They reached the containment sector entrance where Commander Brandt stood with 6 armed security officers. The Torgathi commander's scales were flushed nearly black with stress. Dr. Wells, we have not breached the final containment door. My officers are prepared to extract your daughter. But I wanted you here first. The child is inside the main chamber with the Night Stalker. Adrian felt like someone had punched him in the chest. Is Shadow awake? Yes, the creature has been moving for approximately 15 minutes. Have you made any loud noises? Sudden movements visible through the observation glass? No, we have been extremely careful. But Dr. Wells, we cannot wait much longer. Every second that child is in there, I need to see. Adrian pushed past the security team to the observation window. What he saw made his heart stop and restart in the same moment. Lily stood in the center of the containment chamber. She looked impossibly small against the vast space, a tiny human child in her sleep clothes and bare feet. Shadow was awake, alert, and watching her from a distance of perhaps 10 meters. The creature's 6 eyes were focused entirely on Lily. Its armored plates were slightly raised, not aggressive but not relaxed either. The posture of an apex predator trying to decide what this strange small thing was. Lily was not running, not screaming, not panicking. She stood perfectly still, her hands at her sides, her head tilted slightly as she looked up at Shadow. She was talking, Adrian realized. He could not hear her through the reinforced glass, but he could see her lips moving. Calm, steady, quiet words. She has been doing that since we arrived, Brandt said quietly. He had moved up beside Adrian. Talking to it. The creature has not moved closer, but it has not retreated either. Adrian's researcher brain began overriding his father brain. He forced himself to observe clinically. Shadow's posture was curious, not predatory. The electrical discharge along its spine was minimal. The creature's breathing was steady, not the rapid panting that preceded a strike. Shadow was doing exactly what it had done the first time Adrian entered the chamber 5 years ago. It was trying to understand what this new thing was. Do not intervene yet, Adrian said. Excuse me. Brandt's scales flashed bright orange. That is your offspring. And this is my research. Commander, I know this creature. Shadow is not preparing to attack. Shadow is curious. Curiosity from a Night Stalker killed 300 of my people. Your people approached with weapons and fear. They treated these creatures like mindless beasts. Lily is not showing fear. Look at her body language. Adrian pointed and the others watched. Lily took one small step forward. Shadow's head moved, tracking the motion, but the creature did not tense or prepare to pounce. Lily stopped, waited, took another small step. The same patient advance that Adrian had learned to use, the same respect for the predator's space. She is doing it. Dr. Yana whispered. She is approaching the same way you did. How does she know how? Bront demanded. Because she is my daughter, Adrian said softly. Because she has watched every piece of footage of me with Shadow. Because humans have been learning to read predator behavior since before we had language. It is in our blood, in our bones, in our DNA. Lily took another step. Shadow lowered its massive head slightly, bringing its eyes more level with the child. Adrian could see Lily's expression now. She was not smiling, but she did not look afraid either. She looked focused, present, aware. The same expression she got when solving a difficult math problem or building something complicated with her toys. I am going in, Adrian said. Absolutely not, Bront replied. I cannot authorize that. One human in danger is bad enough. Commander, I'm going in whether you authorize it or not. That is my daughter, and I know this creature better than anyone alive. The question is whether you will open the door or whether I will have to override it myself. Bront's scales shifted through several colors before settling on a resigned gray. If this fails, if both of you die, the Council will shut down all Night Stalker research permanently. If this fails, the Council can do whatever they want. I will be dead. Adrian moved to the access panel. His hand shook as he entered his biometric key. The inner door required a 2-minute decompression cycle before it would open. The longest 2 minutes of Adrian's life. Through the glass, he watched Lily extend her hand slowly. Not reaching toward Shadow yet, just raising her arm so the creature could see the motion clearly. Shadow's eyes tracked the movement. The creature took one step closer to Lily, then another. Each step was slow, deliberate, testing. Oh, ancestors preserve us, Bront muttered. The decompression cycle finished. The inner door unlocked with a heavy clunk that echoed through the chamber. Shadow's head snapped toward the sound. All 6 eyes now focused on the door. Adrian could see the creature's muscles tensing, preparing for whatever came through that door. Adrian stepped into the chamber. He did not run, did not shout Lily's name. That would trigger Shadow's chase instinct. Instead, he walked steadily, confidently, the same way he always entered this space. Lily, he said quietly, his voice steady despite the fear screaming through every nerve. Do not move suddenly. Lily glanced at him and Adrian saw tears in her eyes. But not tears of fear, tears of wonder. Dad, Shadow is beautiful. Shadow's attention was now split between Adrian and Lily. The creature recognized the adult human, but the child was still unknown. Adrian could see the calculation happening behind those alien eyes. 2 humans now, still not aggressive, still not showing prey behavior. But what were they? Adrian walked slowly toward his daughter. Shadow watched but did not move. 20 steps, 15, 10. Adrian reached Lily's side and placed his hand on her shoulder. She leaned into him slightly but kept her eyes on Shadow. I am sorry, Dad. I know you said not to, but I had to see. I had to know if I could feel it too. The connection you have. We will talk about the rules you broke later, Adrian said. Right now I need you to follow my lead exactly. Can you do that? Yes. Good. We are going to approach Shadow together. Slowly. When I tell you to stop, you stop. When I tell you to move, you move. Trust me completely. I do trust you. Adrian took a breath and began walking toward Shadow. Lily matched his pace perfectly, moving as if they were connected. Shadow watched them come, the massive predator utterly still now. Adrian could feel his daughter's hand find his, small fingers gripping tight. They stopped 3 meters from Shadow, close enough that the creature's hot breath washed over them, close enough that Adrian could see the individual crystalline structures in Shadow's teeth, close enough that one lunge would end both their lives. Extend your hand like I taught you in the vids, Adrian said quietly, slowly. Let Shadow see it clearly. Lily raised her small hand. It looked absurdly tiny compared to Shadow's massive head. The child's fingers trembled slightly, but she kept her arm steady. Shadow leaned forward, bringing its armored snout close to Lily's hand. In the observation area, Adrian knew security officers had weapons trained on this exact moment. He knew Bront was probably seconds from ordering them to fire. He knew that dozens of alien researchers were watching what they believed was certain death. But Adrian also knew something they did not. He knew the angle of Shadow's head, the relaxed state of the creature's spine plates, the gentle quality of its breathing. He knew that Shadow had made a decision. Lily's hand touched Shadow's snout. The rough armor was warm under her palm. The creature's eyes closed briefly, then opened again. Shadow made the rumbling sound in its chest. The same sound it made with Adrian. Recognition, acceptance, understanding. "Hello, friend," Lily whispered. And in the observation area, the screaming began. The screams were not human. They came from the 24 alien researchers pressed against the observation glass, watching a small child touch the most feared predator in the known galaxy. A silvery researcher's wings beat frantically against the window. 3 Torgathi security officers had their weapons raised but seemed frozen, unable to shoot with Adrian and Lily so close to the target. Someone was shouting for medical teams. Someone else was praying in a language the translators could not identify. Inside the chamber, none of that chaos mattered. Lily's hand rested against Shadow's armored snout, and the massive creature leaned gently into her touch. The child's face showed pure wonder. Shadow's 6 eyes were half-closed in contentment, the same expression the creature showed when Adrian fed it favorite treats. Adrian kept his hand on Lily's shoulder, ready to pull her back at any sign of trouble. But no trouble came. Shadow shifted its weight, moving slightly closer. One massive claw, each talon as long as Lily's forearm, extended slowly toward the child. "Dad," Lily whispered, "let it happen. Shadow is greeting you the same way it greeted me the first time. Stay calm." The claw touched Lily's shoulder with impossible gentleness. Shadow was testing, learning, understanding. The creature made the rumbling sound again, deeper this time. Adrian felt it vibrate through the floor and into his bones. "Can I speak to it?" Lily asked. "Yes, use a calm voice. Tell Shadow who you are." Lily took a breath. "Hello, Shadow. My name is Lily. I am Adrian's daughter. He talks about you all the time. He says you are brilliant and strong and beautiful. I think he is right." Shadow's head tilted slightly, listening. The creature could not understand human words, but it could understand tone, could read the lack of threat in Lily's voice. Shadow took one more step closer, and suddenly the massive predator was right beside them, its armored body within arm's reach. Lily looked up at her father. "May I?" Adrian nodded, knowing what she was asking. Lily reached out with both hands and placed them against Shadow's shoulder. The armored plates were warm, almost hot to the touch. Lily could feel the powerful muscles moving beneath, feel the slow, steady rhythm of Shadow's breathing. "You are wonderful," Lily said softly. In the observation area, Commander Bront finally found his voice. "Hold your fire," he ordered the security team. "Do not shoot unless the creature makes an aggressive move." He turned to Dr. Yana. "Explain this to me. Make me understand what I am seeing." Dr. Yana's compound eyes reflected the scene in the chamber dozens of times over. "I am not certain I can explain it, Commander. This should not be possible. Everything we know about Night Stalker behavior says they attack anything that enters their territory. Yet here stands a human child, touching one as if it were a domesticated animal." "The child is doing exactly what Adrian does," said another researcher, a Krell named Thorin. "Watch her body language. She moves the same way, speaks the same way. She shows no fear." "She is 8 years old," Bront said. "How can she have learned what took Dr. Wells years to master?" "Perhaps she did not need to learn," Dr. Yana said quietly. "Perhaps she already knew." Inside the chamber, Adrian was coming to the same conclusion. He watched his daughter interact with Shadow and saw skills he had never directly taught her. The way she kept her movements smooth and predictable. The way she maintained calm eye contact without staring aggressively. The way she used her voice as a tool for reassurance. These were all things Adrian had learned through decades of working with dangerous animals. Yet Lily was doing them instinctively. Shadow lowered its massive body to the floor, settling down like a cat. The position brought the creature's head level with Lily's, making eye contact easier. Lily sat down too, cross-legged on the cold chamber floor, still keeping one hand on Shadow's shoulder. "Dad, why does everyone think Shadow is dangerous? Shadow is not trying to hurt anyone." "Shadow is dangerous," Adrian said, sitting down beside his daughter. "Make no mistake about that, Butterfly. This is an apex predator with the strength to kill dozens of beings in seconds. But being dangerous is not the same as being evil or mindless. Shadow is just being what it is. But you understand that. And now I understand that." So why do not the others understand? Because most species in the galaxy did not evolve the way humans did. They did not spend millions of years living alongside predators learning to read them. Many species evolved as prey animals. Their instincts tell them to run from creatures like Shadow. But our instincts tell us something different, Lily said. Yes. Our instincts say that if we are careful, patient and respectful, even the most dangerous predator might become something more than an enemy. Shadow made a huffing sound and moved its head, resting the armored snout on the floor beside Lily. The gesture was unmistakable, the same way a dog might rest its head on your lap, seeking connection and comfort. Lily laughed, the sound bright and pure in the sterile chamber. She stroked the ridge above Shadow's eyes, her small hand barely covering one of the 6 eye sockets. You are not so scary, she told Shadow. You are just lonely. All the other researchers were too afraid to be your friend. But Dad was not afraid. And I am not afraid either. Adrian felt something tight in his chest loosen. Pride mixed with love mixed with the strange sensation of watching his daughter demonstrate a gift he had thought was his alone. But it was not just his gift. It was humanity's gift, coded into their DNA by millions of years of evolution. The gift that had let their ancestors turn wolves into dogs, that had let them ride horses, that had let them befriend corvids and dolphins and elephants. The gift of speaking without words to creatures that should have been their enemies. A sound from the observation area drew Adrian's attention. The door was opening and Commander Bront was entering the chamber. The Torgothi commander moved carefully, his scales showing a complex pattern of colors that Adrian had learned indicated conflicting emotions. Shadow's head lifted immediately, watching the new arrival. The creature's body tensed, not aggressive but wary. Bront was not someone Shadow knew. Commander, stop there, Adrian said. Do not come closer yet. Bront stopped halfway across the chamber. Dr. Wells, I need you and your daughter to exit the chamber. The Council is demanding an emergency meeting. We are safe here. That does not change the Council's demands. There are protocols, procedures. A child has entered a restricted containment area with an apex predator. There are serious questions about station security and your judgment. Adrian stood slowly, helping Lily to her feet. Shadow's eyes tracked their movement, but the creature did not stand. Commander, look at Shadow. Really look. Does that seem like a creature about to attack? Bront looked. Adrian could see the commander struggling with what his eyes showed versus what his instincts told him. It seems calm, Bront admitted. But Night Stalkers are ambush predators. They can go from rest to attack in seconds. So can humans if we are threatened. That does not make us mindless killers. Shadow has had multiple chances to hurt us. Instead, Shadow has chosen connection. You are attributing complex emotional reasoning to a predator. I am recognizing complex emotional reasoning that was always there. We just did not see it because we were too afraid to look properly. Dr. Yana floated into the chamber, moving with the confidence of someone who had watched the entire interaction. Commander Bront, with respect, what we are witnessing is revolutionary. This child has demonstrated that Dr. Wells's success is not a fluke or luck. It is a replicable skill based on human evolutionary advantages. Or it is a child who learned to mimic her father's behavior, Bront countered. In one day? Yana's antennae waved skeptically. No, Commander. This is something deeper, something instinctive. Lily tugged on Adrian's hand. Do we have to leave Shadow alone again? For now, yes. But we will come back. Promise? Promise. Lily turned to Shadow and placed her hand one more time on the creature's snout. I will visit you again, friend. Thank you for being gentle with me. Shadow's eyes closed briefly, a gesture Adrian had come to recognize as acknowledgement. Then the creature settled back down, watching as the humans and aliens left the chamber. Outside, in the corridor beyond the observation area, a crowd had gathered. Word had spread through the station faster than light. Researchers from every department, security personnel, even maintenance workers had come to see the impossible sight. They parted to let Adrian and Lily through, their various eyes wide with disbelief. One researcher, an elderly Silvari named Kenton, floated forward. Dr. Wells, in 60 years of xenobiology research, I have never seen anything like this. How did you teach your daughter to approach a Night Stalker? I did not teach her, Adrian said. She already knew. But how is that possible? Adrian looked down at Lily, at her tired but excited expression, at the way she unconsciously mimicked his confident posture. Because she is human, he said simply. And humans have been making friends with monsters since before we had cities or laws or science. We just forgot how special that gift was until we met the rest of the galaxy, the crowd murmured. Translators struggling to keep up with multiple conversations happening at once. Commander Bront raised his voice. Everyone return to your stations. Dr. Wells and his daughter will be in council chambers within the hour. This situation will be reviewed properly. As the crowd dispersed, Lily leaned against her father's side. Dad, am I in trouble? You broke about 15 security protocols, snuck out of your quarters and nearly gave me a heart attack. So yes, Butterfly, you are in trouble. But Shadow is fine, you are fine, and we learned something important today. That does not mean you did not scare me half to death. Lily hugged him. I am sorry I scared you. But I had to know, Dad. I had to know if I could feel it too. Adrian held his daughter close. I know. And now we both know. The council chamber was designed to accommodate multiple species comfortably, which meant it was enormous. Tiered seating rose in a semicircle around a central speaking area, where Adrian and Lily stood. 23 council members representing 14 species watched them with expressions that ranged from curiosity to outright hostility. Council Speaker Dren, a Torgathi elder whose scales had faded to pale silver with age, activated the chamber's recording systems. This emergency session is now active. Dr. Adrian Wells and his daughter Lily Wells are present to address the incident that occurred in Containment Sector 7 approximately 2 hours ago. Dr. Wells, please explain your daughter's unauthorized entry into an active containment zone. Adrian had faced hostile review boards before, but never with his 8-year-old daughter standing beside him. Lily was trying to look brave, but he could feel her trembling slightly. He squeezed her hand. Council Speaker, my daughter bypassed security protocols that I believed were sufficient. She entered the containment chamber against my explicit instructions. These are facts, and I take full responsibility for not securing my access codes more carefully. The child could have been killed, said Councilmember Vortan, a Krell whose massive frame filled 3 regular seats. She entered the space of a Night Stalker. Our species has classified them as Class 5 hostile since first contact. No Krell warrior has ever survived close combat with a Night Stalker. Yet my daughter sat beside one for 20 minutes, Adrian said calmly, and the Night Stalker chose to be gentle. Luck, snapped Councilmember Shira, her Silvari wings flashing with agitation. Temporary curiosity that could have turned to aggression in an instant. You gambled with a child's life. I did not gamble. I entered that chamber knowing exactly what I would find, because I have spent 5 years learning Shadow's behavior patterns. Yes, there was risk, but it was calculated risk based on extensive observation and understanding. Commander Bront stood from his seat in the observer section. Council Speaker, may I present additional evidence? Dren nodded and Bront activated the chamber's holographic display. Footage began playing, showing the entire sequence of events from multiple camera angles. The council watched in silence as Lily touched Shadow, as the creature responded with gentleness as Adrian joined them, as the 3 beings sat together in what could only be described as peaceful coexistence. When the footage ended, Dren spoke quietly. I have witnessed many things in my long life. I have seen stars born and planets die, but I have never seen a child touch a Night Stalker and live. Dr. Wells, I do not understand what I am seeing. Dr. Yana floated forward from the observer section. Council Speaker, may I address the chamber? Proceed, Dr. Yana. Yana moved to the center speaking area beside Adrian and Lily. Honored council members, what you witnessed today is not an accident or luck. It is the result of a unique evolutionary path that humanity followed. While most species in this chamber evolved from prey animals or herbivores, humans evolved alongside apex predators. They had to learn to read predator behavior to survive. Many species learn to avoid predators, Vortan rumbled. This is basic survival. Humans did more than avoid, Yana continued. They studied. They learned. They formed alliances. Approximately 30,000 years ago, humans began domesticating wolves, turning them into what they now call dogs. They learned to ride prey animals like horses, turning them into partners. They befriended corvids, dolphins, elephants. Species after species that should have been enemies or food became allies. Fairy tales, Shira said dismissively. Primitive superstitions, not tales. Historical fact documented in human genetic records and archaeology. Humans have a unique gift for forming bonds with dangerous creatures. They call it animal training or behavior study, but it is deeper than that. It is an evolutionary advantage coded into human neurology. They can read body language across species barriers. They can project calm and confidence in ways that bypass predator instincts. They can form what they call trust with creatures that would kill any of us on sight. Council member Talus, an aquatic species whose tank seat bubbled quietly, spoke for the first time. If this is true, why did humans not mention this capability when they joined the galactic community? Adrian answered. Because we did not realize it was unique. We thought everyone could do it. We thought learning to read animal behavior was a normal skill, not a rare gift. It was only when I came here and saw how other species interacted with dangerous fauna that I understood humans might have something special. Show us, Dren said suddenly. You claim your daughter shares this gift. Demonstrate it under controlled conditions. Council Speaker, with respect, I will not put my daughter through another test today, but I can show you evidence that this is not isolated to us. Adrian pulled out his datapad and activated his own holographic display. These are reports from other human researchers stationed throughout the galaxy. Dr. Rachel Kim on Station Outpost. 9 has successfully bonded with a razor serpent. Dr. David Okonkwo on the agricultural colony of New Terra has trained what the locals call death wolves to guard livestock instead of hunting it. Lieutenant Sarah Brennan in the military's Xenofauna division has a partnership with a spine hawk that other species will not even approach. The images flowed past, showing human after human interacting with creatures that were classified as deadly. In each case, the creatures were calm, responsive, engaged with their human partners in ways that seemed impossible. There are 43 documented cases just in the past 2 years, Adrian continued. Humans forming bonds with dangerous species that other races fear or kill on sight. This is not luck or coincidence. This is a pattern, a dangerous pattern, Vortan said. These creatures are threats. They should be contained or eliminated, not befriended. Why? Lily's voice was small but clear. Every eye in the chamber turned to the child. She looked terrified but determined. Why should Shadow die just because Shadow is strong? Shadow never attacked anyone here. Shadow was scared and alone. Dad showed Shadow that not everyone was an enemy. I showed Shadow the same thing. That does not make us reckless. It makes us kind. The chamber fell silent. Lily's words hung in the air, simple and devastating. Finally, Dren spoke. The child makes a fair point. We have classified many species as hostile based on our own fear and failed encounters. But if humans can succeed where we failed, perhaps we should reconsider our classifications. We should reconsider our research protocols entirely, Yana added. For decades, we have studied dangerous species from a distance through drones and barriers. We have learned about their biology, but nothing about their behavior or intelligence. Humans offer us a new approach. They can bridge the gap between us and these creatures. They can teach us what we have been too afraid to learn. Or they can get themselves killed and cause diplomatic incidents. Shira countered. Council Speaker, I propose we restrict human researchers from close contact with Class 4 and 5 hostile species until proper safety protocols can be established. That would cripple my research, Adrian said. And it would prevent us from helping other stations that are struggling with dangerous fauna. Just this morning, I received a distress call from Research Station Beta. They have captured 3 more Night Stalkers and the creatures are in distress. People have already been injured trying to contain them. I can help. Lily and I can help. Absolutely not, Bront said firmly. You cannot take a child into an active crisis situation. Lily stepped forward, pulling her hand from her father's. Commander Bront, you said your species lost hundreds of people studying Night Stalkers. My dad has worked with Shadow for 5 years without anyone getting hurt. Today I spent time with Shadow and no one got hurt. If we can stop people from dying, is that not worth trying? Vortan leaned forward, his massive head tilting to study the small human child. You are very brave for one so young, but bravery without wisdom leads to death. My mom used to say that wisdom without action is just fear dressed up in smart words, Lily replied. She was a xenobotanist. She studied dangerous plants on frontier worlds. She taught me that scared people make bad choices because they are too busy protecting themselves to see clearly. Adrian's throat tightened. Those were indeed his wife's words, her philosophy. Lily had been listening more carefully than he realized. Dren raised one clawed hand for silence. This council has much to consider. However, the immediate question remains. Dr. Wells, if we authorize your response to Research Station Beta's crisis, can you guarantee success? I can guarantee I will do everything possible to resolve the situation without casualties. But no, I cannot promise success. Working with dangerous animals always carries risk. Can you guarantee your daughter's safety? No, but I can tell you that Lily understands these creatures in ways that even I am still learning. She has instincts that I have had to train myself to develop. If the situation at Station Beta is as serious as reported, we need every advantage we can get. The council members spoke among themselves in hushed tones, translators creating a susurrus of overlapping voices. Finally, Dren spoke again. This council authorizes Dr. Wells to respond to the crisis at Research Station Beta. However, the child will remain here under protective supervision. No, Lily said firmly. I am going with my dad. Lily. Adrian started. Dad, you said Shadow responded to me the same way Shadow responded to you. That means I can help. Those Night Stalkers at Station Beta are scared. They are probably in cages or small spaces. They think everyone wants to hurt them. If there are 3 of them, you will need help calming them. I can do this. Adrian looked at his daughter, seeing her mother's fierce determination in every line of her face. He looked at the council, at the mix of fear and hope in their alien expressions. He thought about the message from Station Beta, about the injuries and the panic and the very real possibility that those 3 Night Stalkers would be destroyed if someone did not intervene soon. If Lily comes with me, he said slowly. She follows my orders exactly. The moment I say something is too dangerous, she backs off. No arguments, I promise, Lily said. Dren's scales rippled with conflicting colors. This is highly irregular. A child in a crisis response situation violates several safety protocols. So does having humans work with Class 5 hostile creatures, Adrian countered. But we have already proven that sometimes breaking the expected protocol leads to better outcomes. The council voted. It was close, but authorization was granted. Adrian and Lily would travel to Research Station Beta to attempt resolution of the Night Stalker crisis. They would be accompanied by Commander Bront and a security team. Dr. Yana would document everything for research purposes. As the chamber emptied, Vortan approached them. The massive Krell loomed over Adrian and Lily, but his voice was surprisingly gentle. Human child, your words about kindness have given me much to think about. My people have always measured strength by what we can destroy. Perhaps it is time we learn to measure it by what we can protect and preserve. Lily smiled up at the huge warrior. My dad says the strongest people are the ones who choose to be gentle even when they could be dangerous. Vortan's expression, difficult to read on a Krell face, might have been a smile. Your father is wise, and so are you, small one. Research Station Beta looked nothing like the orderly facility Adrian called home. Through the transport window he could see scorch marks on the hull, and several damaged sections sealed with emergency patches. The docking approach took longer than usual because 2 of the main docking ports were offline. Lily pressed close to Adrian's side. Dad, it looks hurt. The station has been through a difficult time, Adrian said quietly. The people there are scared. Remember what we discussed. We stay calm, we move slowly, and we listen to what the Night Stalkers are telling us through their behavior. Commander Bront checked his sidearm for the 3rd time since they boarded the transport. Dr. Wells, the station director, reports 3 Night Stalkers in separate containment cells. All 3 are exhibiting extreme stress behaviors. 2 researchers are in medical care with severe injuries. The station security chief is demanding the creatures be euthanized immediately. Then we need to move fast, Adrian said. Yana, are you recording? Dr. Yana's equipment hummed softly. All systems active. Whatever happens today will be documented completely. The transport docked with a shudder. The airlock cycled open to reveal Station Beta's director, a harried-looking Sylvari named Petrin, whose wings were tattered and dull with stress. Dr. Wells, thank the ancestors you are here. We are at crisis point. The creatures have been violent since we brought them aboard. We have them in reinforced cells, but they are damaging the containment systems. If they breach, we will have to evacuate the entire station. Take me to them, Adrian said. But first tell me how they were captured. As they walked through the damaged corridors, Petrin explained. We were studying Night Stalker pack behavior on Dracon 7. The team used tranquilizer drones to subdue 3 juveniles. The plan was to transport them here for controlled study, but they woke during transit. They have been in a state of panic ever since. Juveniles, Adrian repeated, his voice tight. You captured young ones. Yes, approximately 2 years old. Easier to manage than adults. Easier to traumatize, Lily said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. They are babies. You took them from their family. They think you are going to hurt them. Petron's wings fluttered with indignation. We followed all approved protocols for specimen acquisition. Your protocols are designed for creatures without complex social structures, Adrian said. Night Stalkers are pack hunters. Those juveniles probably have parents somewhere on Dracon 7 searching for them. No wonder they are violent. They are terrified. They reached the containment area and the sound hit them immediately. 3 different cries, each distinct, each filled with distress. The calls of young creatures in pain and fear. Through reinforced windows, Adrian could see the 3 Night Stalkers. They were smaller than Shadow, perhaps half the size, but still formidable. Each was in a separate cell, pacing frantically, clawing at walls. Bioelectric discharges crackling across their spines in patterns that Adrian recognized as severe stress. They have been making those sounds for hours, Petron said. We believe it is some form of distress call, but we cannot stop it. They are calling for their parents, Lily said, moving closer to the nearest window. Listen to the pattern. It repeats every 30 seconds. That is a help me call. The child is correct, Yana said, her instruments recording everything. Those vocalizations match distress patterns seen in many social species when young are separated from family groups. Adrian studied the 3 juveniles. Their behavior was nothing like Shadow's calm confidence. These were frightened children, not aggressive predators. Their violence was defensive, born from terror. We need to get them out of these cells, Adrian said. The enclosed space is making their panic worse. Absolutely not, said Station Beta's security chief, a Torgathi named Gord, whose scales were flushed dark red with stress. Those creatures are dangerous. They put 2 of my people in medical care. Open those cells and someone will die. Someone will die if you do not open them, Adrian countered. Look at the damage they are doing to themselves. See the abrasions on their armor plates? The way their bioelectric systems are overloading? They are hurting themselves trying to escape. If this continues, they will either break containment or die from stress. Then we euthanize them humanely, Gord said. It is the only safe option. No. Lily's voice was firm. She walked up to Gord, barely reaching the Torgathi's chest, and looked up at him. You do not get to kill them just because you are scared. They did not ask to be here. You brought them here. That makes them your responsibility. Child, you do not understand the danger. I touched Shadow. Shadow could have killed me in 1 second. But Shadow did not because I was not acting like prey or a threat. These juveniles are scared. My dad and I can help them. Gord looked at Petron, who looked at Commander Brandt. The commander from their home station stepped forward. Director Patron, I have witnessed what Dr. Wells and his daughter can accomplish. I recommend allowing them to attempt intervention before considering lethal options. Patron's wings drooped. If this fails, if anyone is injured, then it is on me, Adrian said. I take full responsibility. Now please open the containment area and give me access to the central chamber. We need space to work. 10 minutes later, Adrian and Lily stood in a large open chamber that was normally used for equipment storage. The station crew had cleared it out and set up observation positions behind reinforced barriers. Security teams were stationed at every exit with weapons ready. The 3 juveniles had been tranquilized lightly, just enough to move them safely, and placed in the chamber with Adrian and Lily. The young Night Stalkers huddled together in one corner, awake now but groggy. Their 6 eyes tracked the 2 humans with fear and confusion. Bioelectric sparks danced weakly across their spines. They made quiet distress calls, softer now but no less desperate. They are so scared, Lily whispered. Stay behind me at first, Adrian said. Let them see me, let them understand I am not a threat. Then we will approach together. Adrian sat down on the floor, making himself smaller and less threatening. He began speaking in the same calm, steady voice he used with Shadow. Not words that mattered, but tone. Gentle, patient, reassuring. The juveniles watched but did not move. Lily sat beside her father. Together they waited. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10. The juveniles' breathing began to slow. Their bioelectric discharges dimmed further. They were still afraid, but the immediate panic was fading. One of the juveniles, slightly larger than the others, took a tentative step forward. Then another. It was approaching the way a curious but frightened animal might, wanting to understand these strange beings but ready to flee at any threat. "That is it?" Adrian said softly. "Come meet us. We are not going to hurt you." The juvenile came closer, its movements jerky with fear. It stopped several meters away, studying them. Adrian slowly extended his hand, palm up, non-threatening. The juvenile tilted its head, mimicking the gesture Shadow often used. Then Lily did something Adrian did not expect. She started humming. A simple melody, something her mother used to sing. The tune was wordless but soothing, rising and falling in gentle waves. The effect was immediate. All three juveniles focused on Lily. Their distress calls faded to silence. The lead juvenile took another step closer, then another, drawn by the sound. "Keep singing," Adrian whispered. Lily continued the melody, and Adrian joined her, humming in harmony. It was something they had done together 1,000 times at home, a way of connecting without words. Now they offered that connection to 3 frightened young creatures who had been ripped from their family. The lead juvenile reached them. It lowered its head, not in aggression, but in the same gesture Shadow used, seeking understanding, seeking safety. Adrian touched its armored snout gently, and the juvenile's eyes closed briefly. Relief. Recognition of kindness after hours of fear. The other 2 juveniles approached more quickly, emboldened by their siblings' success. Soon all 3 were close, allowing the humans to touch them, responding to the gentle humming with soft rumbles of their own. "They are just babies," Lily said, her voice thick with emotion. "They were so scared, I know, Butterfly, but they are safe now." Behind the barriers, the station crew watched in stunned silence. Dr. Yana's instruments recorded every moment. Commander Brandt's expression was unreadable, but his scales had shifted to a contemplative blue-green. For the next 2 hours, Adrian and Lily worked with the 3 juveniles. They did not try to control or dominate them. Instead, they provided comfort and stability. They showed the young Night Stalkers that these strange beings meant no harm. Gradually, the juveniles relaxed completely. They settled onto the floor around the 2 humans, forming a protective circle. When Lily lay down, one juvenile curled its body around her like a living shield. When Adrian stood to stretch, another followed him like a devoted shadow. Finally, Adrian approached the observation barrier. "Director Petrin, these juveniles cannot stay here. They need to return to Draken 7 to their family. They are too young to be separated from their pack." "Return them?" Petrin's wings fluttered with surprise. "But they are valuable research specimens." "They are children stolen from their parents," Adrian said firmly. "Imagine if someone took your offspring for study. Would you call that research, or would you call it cruelty?" Petrin was quiet for a long moment. "We invested significant resources in their capture, and you will invest more resources in returning them," Commander Brandt said, surprising everyone. "Dr. Wells is correct. These are not specimens. They are juvenile social creatures who belong with their family. The Galactic Council will support return and reintegration protocols. But our research," Petrin protested weakly, "will continue in a more ethical direction," Dr. Yana interjected. "We have learned more about Night Stalker behavior in the past 2 hours than your team learned in weeks of stressful containment. Adrian and Lily have demonstrated methods for non-invasive study that will yield far better results. You do not need to capture and traumatize these creatures. You just need humans who can bridge the gap." Petrin looked at the scene in the chamber, at the 3 juveniles resting peacefully with the humans, and something in the director's posture shifted. "Very well. We will prepare a return mission to Dracon 7. With Dr. Wells's assistance, we will attempt to reunite these juveniles with their pack." 3 days later, Adrian and Lily stood on the surface of Dracon 7, a wild planet of volcanic ridges and deep forests. The 3 juveniles were with them, fitted with harmless tracking devices that would allow researchers to study them from a distance. Behind the humans, a safe distance away, the research teams watched through drones and remote sensors. The juveniles had been calling since they landed, their distress cries now mixed with excitement. They recognized their home world, and somewhere in the distance other calls answered. Deep, powerful voices that made the ground vibrate. Adult Night Stalkers responding to their young. "They are coming," Lily said, both excited and nervous. "Stay calm," Adrian reminded her. "The adults will be protective. They might see us as threats." From the forest emerged 2 massive adult Night Stalkers, each twice Shadow's size. They were magnificent and terrifying, moving with deadly grace. When they saw the juveniles, they increased their pace, calling out in voices that echoed across the volcanic plain. The juveniles ran to the adults, calling back in tones of pure joy. The reunion was immediate and emotional. The adults circled the juveniles, touching them with careful gentleness, checking for injuries, rumbling with relief and what could only be called love. Then one of the adults turned to look at Adrian and Lily. The massive creature approached slowly, and Adrian felt his heart hammering despite his training. This was not Shadow, who knew him. This was a wild night stalker in full protective mode, and the creature's size was staggering. The adult stopped 3 meters away. Its 6 eyes studied the 2 humans with intelligence that could not be denied. Adrian could feel the creature assessing, analyzing, understanding. These small beings had brought the young ones home. These small beings had been gentle with someone's children. The adult lowered its massive head, the same gesture Shadow used, the same gesture the juveniles had learned. A gesture of understanding and respect. Lily, brave as always, stepped forward and placed her small hand on the adult's armored snout. Your babies are safe now. We brought them home. The adult rumbled, a sound that vibrated through Adrian's entire body. Then the creature turned and called to the juveniles. The young ones came running, and the small family group moved together back toward the forest. Before they disappeared into the trees, the adult looked back one more time, holding Adrian's gaze for a long moment. Then they were gone, vanished into the wild planet that was their home. Behind the humans, through the communication link, they could hear the research teams talking excitedly. This was unprecedented. A wild adult night stalker had approached humans peacefully, had understood that they were not a threat. Dr. Yana was already writing papers in her head, describing the implications. But for Adrian and Lily, it was simpler than that. It was about respecting life, about bridging gaps between species, about choosing to see intelligence and emotion in creatures that others feared. Dad, Lily said as they walked back to the transport. Yes, Butterfly? When I grow up, I want to do this. I want to help people understand creatures they think are monsters. I want to show them that different is not the same as dangerous. Adrian pulled his daughter close. I think you are already doing that. 6 months later, back at their home station, Adrian gave a presentation to the full Galactic Council. Images filled the chamber showing humans working with dangerous species across dozens of worlds. The Night Stalker project had opened doors to similar work everywhere. Species that had been classified as kill on sight were being reclassified as opportunities for understanding. Humanity's evolutionary path has given us a unique gift, Adrian explained to the assembled representatives of galactic civilization. We learned to read predator behavior because we had to. We learned that not every dangerous creature was an enemy, because sometimes those creatures became our strongest allies. We offer this gift to the galaxy now, not as warriors or conquerors, but as bridges between fear and understanding. But what is humanity's ultimate goal? Asked Council Speaker Dren. Why share this gift? What do you hope to achieve? It was Lily who answered, standing beside her father in front of the entire galaxy's government. We want to make sure that no creature is killed just for being strong or scary or different. We want to show that the galaxy is big enough for everyone, even the things that make you afraid. Because my dad taught me that the strongest people are the ones who are brave enough to be kind. The council approved sweeping changes to xenobiology protocols. Human researchers were granted priority in studying dangerous species. A new division was created called Interspecies Bridge Studies, with Adrian as its director and Lily as its youngest consultant. Funding was allocated for peaceful return and reintegration programs for captured creatures. And Shadow, the Night Stalker who started it all, remained Adrian's partner and friend. The massive predator became something of a galactic celebrity, the symbol of what was possible when beings chose understanding over fear. Late one evening, Adrian and Lily sat in the observation area watching Shadow sleep. The creature was peaceful, content, safe. Do you think Mom would be proud? Lily asked. I know she would be, Adrian said. She always believed that the best science came from a place of respect and wonder, not fear and conquest. She would love seeing what we have built here. I miss her. Me too, Butterfly. Every day. But I think she would be happy that we found a way to honor her memory. She studied dangerous plants so people could understand them instead of destroying them. We are doing the same thing with dangerous animals. Lily leaned against her father and they sat in comfortable silence watching Shadow's slow breathing. Outside the station, the galaxy turned, full of dangerous and beautiful and misunderstood creatures waiting for someone brave enough to extend a hand. Humanity had evolved alongside monsters and learned to see the souls within them. Now they offered that ancient gift to the stars, proving that sometimes the most human thing you could do was recognize the humanity in something entirely non-human. In the chamber, Shadow's eyes opened slightly, seeing the two humans who had taught the creature that not all beings were threats. The massive predator rumbled softly, content, before drifting back to sleep. The galaxy was learning slowly that monsters were just beings who had not yet been understood. And humans who had spent millions of years learning that lesson were finally ready to teach it.